Saludos, señores, de nuevo con todos ustedes aquí desde el estadio Pascual Guerrero de la ciudad de Cali, donde va a comenzar en breve este segundo partido correspondiente al Grupo B en la Copa América, segunda jornada, el encuentro correspondiente ahora a las selecciones de México y de Brasil. Ahí tienen ya el público que abarrota casi completamente este estadio de la ciudad de Cali, al sur de Colombia. Imágenes muy bonitas son los graderíos. Este es el colegiado del partido, el señor, el hombre que dirige la contienda, Óscar Julián Ruiz, el colegiado colombiano. Este partido entre Brasil y México, estos dos animadores de la Copa América. Brasil porque es, después de Argentina, el equipo que más ocasiones ha ganado este tradicional trofeo suramericano, y México porque, aunque no pertenece a la Confederación Sudamericana, sino que pertenece a la CONCACAF, sin embargo ha sido invitado desde 1993 y en los últimos 3 años ha conseguido siempre entrar en semifinales y consecutivamente los últimos...
Turmoil right now, but they are seeking a third successive Copa America triumph, and only Argentina have done that before in the 1940s. Luis Felipe Scolari is the fourth coach that Brazil have had during their current World Cup qualifying campaign. It's only his second game in charge, but it's a similar story for the Mexican coach as well. Javier Aguirre, it's his second game too. He at least got off to a winning start against the USA, whereas Big Phil, as the Brazilian coach is known, suffered a defeat in his first game in Uruguay. So really for both coaches, it's a question of finding out things about their players, and it's a question of picking up from where others have left off. Game 4 of the 2001 Copa America. It brings together two countries who've fallen on hard times lately, to such an extent that they are both under new management. In the 3 games so far in this tournament, we've had 13 goals and 4 red cards. That's what the Copa America is all about, Gerry.
Well, we're averaging 4 goals a game. He had 4.23 goals a game, and I'll be happy if there's 4 or 5 goals here tonight. But again, I'm just looking and interested to see some of the young talent on show that we haven't seen before, and hopefully we'll see an awful lot of in the future. Fabio Rupchin back from Barcelona, just signed for them recently, and obviously Giovanni, who's just signed a striker. And I want to see what they're made of, because scoring a lot of goals for the under-20 side in Brazil, but this is the big league now.
Well, some of the big boys from Brazil are missing, but that really does give the lesser names a chance to impress the new coach, especially when you consider that those big boys haven't done particularly well in the World Cup qualifiers. They're currently 4th in the group, and the top 4 qualify. Could yet end up in a playoff to get to the World Cup, and there's a familiar face. Juninho Paulista, as he is now known, because there are a couple of Juninhos in this Brazilian squad. Played in England for Middlesbrough and in Spain for Atletico Madrid. It's time for a Mexican huddle. They stopped the rot recently with the victory over the USA, and it really was some rot. The rot began by England, in fact, when they thumped them 4-0 at Pride Park in Derby. That was the first of 6 straight defeats for Mexico. But then Brazil have only managed a couple of wins this year in 10 games. And Juninho, once a darling of the Teesside faithful in England, proved to be their key man here. And Emerson, who won Serie A with Roma, will surely play a prominent part too. And there is Giovanni, the young striker, and the great young hope, who's just joined Barcelona in Spain for quite a few pesetas.
Reportedly $18 million, and I'm also looking to see how Jardel features up front.
Well, Brazil and Mexico have been involved in some memorable games in recent times. A 3-3 draw as recently as March in a friendly game. And the 1999 Confederation Cup final is still talked about often. Mexico beat Brazil 4-3 in that. They proved that they weren't invincible then, but of course they are not exactly invincible at the moment. Brazil going through a really rough time. I never thought I'd get to say the words Brazilian football is in turmoil.
Well, I mean, not just turmoil. If they don't qualify for the World Cup in Japan and Korea, that's going to be a huge blow. And I think a lot of it's to do with psychology and confidence. You know, when you're winning and things are going well, there's no problems. But losing is something that's not usual for the Brazilians. Let's see how they feature.
They're going to get to the World Cup somehow, because you can't have a World Cup without Brazil, you know, it's a fact.
Well, I hope not, because it would certainly miss something if they weren't there, but they've got to get there on merit.
Here is Giovanni, wearing 7, just 21 years of age, and winning his first cap at the first of many, it is reckoned. Alessandro. Brazil have actually gone 5 games without a win, would you believe? Their only successes in 2001 were against the USA and Cameroon. They lost a crunch World Cup qualifier in Uruguay recently. They lost it 1-0 to a penalty and had a late goal disallowed by Scotland's top referee Hugh Dallas, who was in charge of the game.
It looked as if it crossed the line as well, Ian. It was a shot from Rivaldo, which the goalkeeper collected probably 2 or 3 feet behind the line, but Hugh Dallas in his position couldn't possibly have seen it. I think it was down to the linesman, but I think Hugh Dallas is something of a hero in Uruguay at the moment.
Well, I'm sure an Old Firm game will seem like a stroll in the park to him after doing Uruguay against Brazil. Emerson, and Jardel thought about going for it, but the flag quickly up.
Interesting one there. Rafael Marquez is picking up Jardel. Marquez plays for Monaco, and Jardel's just signed for Marseille. I think they'll be seeing a lot of each other this season coming.
Jardel certainly a prolific scorer across Europe. In Portugal and then with Galatasaray, and now heading for the French league. Bearing in mind the number of goals he does score, actually, you wonder why he's not in the big leagues.
Well, he always scored goals, there's no doubt about that. Maybe he doesn't work hard enough. That was one of the criticisms was thrown at him in Portugal. He had a very unhappy time in Galatasaray. Couldn't wait till get back, and I thought at one stage he was going back to Portugal, back to Benfica or one of the other big clubs, but it didn't happen.
So Brazil, remember, are on their 4th coach during their campaign to qualify for the World Cup, which would suggest they've had a spot of bother along the way. And Mexico have also recently changed coach as well. Giovanni trying to slip that through to Roger, who had advanced. Brazil hoping to make the final of the Copa America for the 4th time running. They were on the last 2 occasions, but they may well have their work cut out here. Roger taking no chances there, electing to turn it behind, especially as Rodriguez was in close attendance.
Yeah, absolutely. He knew Rodriguez was 2 yards behind him. He couldn't afford to make a mistake. Most of the possession though with Brazil. I think Scolari will be happy with that, but they've got to start turning the possession into opportunities. This one's for Mexico.
He's quite a character, Scolari. More about him later, though. Mexico hoping to strike an early blow, and they might well do. It's a stunning start for Mexico, who take the lead through Borghetti, and Brazil, well, their problems continue, and their year might yet go from bad to worse. An incredible start to the Copa America for Mexico.
Well, this is shocking defending, I've got to say. How can the ball get right into the near post? And then look at the defending there. I mean, that is so poor from Rocky Jr., the Parma centre-half. That's terrible defending. Emerson, Rocky Jr., those are 2 of the more experienced players, and of all the people for it to fall to, Borghetti is the last one you wanted. He is the top goal scorer for them, and he certainly takes this opportunity and gives them a shock lead.
Well, he made his international debut in 1997, Borghetti, but then had to wait 3 years to win another cap. which is strange considering he's a prolific scorer at league level. 20 goals in the league, in fact, for his club Santos. Got a hat-trick against Trinidad and Tobago in a World Cup qualifier, and has signalled Mexico's intentions not to be rolled over by the boys from Brazil.
I think it's just what we needed, Ian. I mean, possession, Brazil, Mexico sitting back deep, defending, and I think it'll continue like that. Brazil will have more of the possession than Mexico, but it's the scoreline that's the important thing, and at the moment Mexico are in front.
Well, that will be a free kick held by Ramon Morales Higuera on Rochenbach. It really has been a terrible year for Brazil, and it's showing no signs of immediate improvement in their opening game in the 2001 Copa America. But it is early days, as they say. That one's just drifted away from Roque Jr., who's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah, it was good defending though from Gerardo Torrado. He was the one that flicked it away to stop Roque Jr. getting on the end of it, and now another corner kick for Brazil this time. I wonder, can they equalise from this one?
Brazil wounded by conceding that early goal. Keeper Perez electing to punch it. It's going to come straight back in though for Alex. And the keeper somehow kept it out. A bit of a scramble, and the end result is a goal kick. Emerson involved.
And it should be 1-1. That's a real opportunity. Poor defending, we've got to say, from Mexico. Great ball into the box. Free header. Absolutely free header. Should have done better. And then the ball, well, Jardel should have pulled it back into the box again, but puts it into the side netting. I think it was Chris who had the free header.
It was, and both central defenders have caused a little consternation, at least in the opening minutes. But it's Mexico who have made a sensational start. A goal from Jared Borghetti. Giovanni floored. Once again, a few questions being asked of Brazil, but you can kind of imagine that they will create a lot of chances before the night is out, and maybe that Mexican goal will simply stir them up a little bit, and at the moment they need a fair bit of stirring up in their position. And it was a rather nasty lunge from Rochenbach, and fortunately Rafael Marquez is okay. He plays his football in France for Monaco, one of the few players actually in the squad outside of his homeland.
There's only the two in. There's he and Gerardo Torrado, who plays for Tenerife. He's just been promoted to the top flight football in Spain. Looking forward to see him next season.
Brazil are actually unbeaten in 20 games in the Copa America, having won the tournament on the last two occasions, hoping for a third straight success. But that man Borghetti has given them something to think about already in Cali. 10 minutes on the clock. Mexico leading Brazil. And Mexico in many ways have been just as bad as Brazil this season themselves, if not worse, losing 6 of their last 7 games. Cooler in Cali than it was in Barranquilla for the opening games last night.
I think it hotted up a little bit in though when Mexico took an early lead, as if Scolari isn't under enough pressure. I was just saying about confidence, and the last thing you want to do when you're short of confidence is concede an early goal. There's a lot of experience in the Brazilian side, and well, there's the initial save, and just look at that, that's poor defending for me. I've got to say, that is poor defending.
But you never thought you'd say Brazil was short on confidence.
I don't think anybody would have said that, but the circumstances that over the last 12 months, everything's conspired to create the problem they've got. They've brought in a lot of fresh players who, you know, not the most experienced players themselves, and they're looking to the experienced players like Juninho to help them along, and Emerson. Got a little bit of work to do.
Coach Scolari, Big Phil, in charge for only the second time. And Mexico on the prowl again with Arellano. It's blocked behind by Roger. I was going to say, actually, Scolari should have guessed what it was going to be like on his first day in charge. The team bus broke down. That sums up the way it's been going for Brazil.
An indication of what was going to happen in the future.
Garcia Aspe, who's been around for quite a while, played in World Cups for Mexico, takes the corner. Here's Arellano. Garcia Aspe again. Mexico looking pretty confident at the moment, and that was a fair try, which was safely collected by Marcos, and the effort came from Higuera.
Well, he strikes it cleanly. Let's be fair to the goalkeeper, he saw it all the way, got well behind it.
Cepeda it was, in fact, who had the effort, who plays his football for the Atlas Club of Guadalajara. Juninho, a darling of the Middlesbrough fans in England, although ultimately relegated with them. In fine form for his club, Vasco da Gama. Brazil have got to try and get themselves going in the Copa America for 2001. Foul on Alex, who's one of their great hopes in this tournament. Plays for Palmeiras. Mexico hoping to punish the Brazilians again. Cepeda. Arellano, and Borghetti's in there again. Arellano couldn't quite latch onto the return, but once again Brazil looking very nervous and not quite there.
They look totally nervous. Whenever the ball goes anywhere near the penalty area, they look really nervous. And again, that was a mistake by Rocky Jr. giving the ball away on the edge of his own box that created the problem initially. And what do you do for confidence? You know, you've got to pull themselves out of it.
Well, he's not exactly one of the inexperienced guys
either. That's true.
AC Milan, of course, in Italy, just to help them qualify for the UEFA Cup, although I'm sure they have loftier ambitions than the UEFA Cup in Milan. Juninho. He does get the free kick, tracked a little too closely by Torrado of Tenerife.
Well, he needs to get more of the ball. He's really at his best when he's picking it up midfield and running at defenders, and he caused a load of problems.
Well, tomorrow or later today, Group C begins, with Bolivia taking on Uruguay and the two replacement nations, Honduras and Costa Rica, coming up against each other. They came in when Argentina and Canada withdrew. And you, of course, can see those Group C games. B. Mexico lead Brazil by 1-0. In Cali, where earlier Peru and Paraguay shared 6 goals, and each had a player sent off 2. A high count as far as red cards are concerned, probably a cert in the Copa America. Rochenbach was rather crudely taken out, and the Mexican coach Gerry, although he doesn't look it, will be rather delighted with the way that his team have gone about their task here. Although hang on, because Roger does get a corner off Ariano.
Well, it was a lunge, I've got to say, from Aspe. He really did throw himself in. Well, the referee's not happy, and he's going to have a word with the Mexican coach, Aguirre, and just giving him a little warning.
Brazil going in search of an equaliser then, but they won't get one like that. It was a comfortable catch. Marcos in the Brazilian goal, preferred to Dida. Holders Brazil trailing Mexico in this battle between two teams who've had a dreadful year. Roger occupying the position usually held by Roberto Carlos, one of the players who decided not to take part. Mind you, he didn't finish the Spanish season not so long ago with Real Madrid, so you can't blame him.
I thought Morris Silva was going to play for them, but he changed his mind after he got to the airport and decided he wasn't going to play either.
This is Emerson trying to inspire Brazil, and a fine try as well from Emerson.
Well, I think the goalkeeper there, Oscar Perez, pushed that one under the crossbar. It's a great run from Emerson, super surge forward, gets it on his left foot, cracks it, fingertips onto the crossbar and over the top.
Brazil is stepping up their search for an equaliser. More credit to Perez. His fingertips proved rather vital there.
I was going to say, he's very agile. He's in the Jorge Campos mode. Very, very positive. Came for a cross, made the save.
His shirt's a bit plain in comparison to Campos, sir.
I think he's probably about 2 or 3 inches taller than Campos as well. He's about 5'10", this goalkeeper.
Here go Mexico again. Ramon Morales Higuera sending that cross in. There are actually 2 players called Ramon Morales in the Mexican squad, which could get a little confusing, but there are 3 players called Rodriguez as well, so it's going to be fun when they're all in action. Much to the dismay of Johan Rodriguez, Brazil given a free kick. Emerson then up to Jardel. Shadowed rather closely by Roque Jr., who might start something for Brazil, then again, perhaps not. Chris got across to cover, and just as well that he did, in fact, because Zepeda was lurking.
Chris was looking for Marcos to help him out there, and Marcos didn't want to have any part of it.
Roger. Roger will take the throw, Juninho.
desperate runs. That was from Gerardo Torrado. Free kick, no. He's going to give the throw in.
Mexico caught napping a little bit as Giovanni tried to get in, but he was barged out of the way by Vidrio. But Mexico defending a bit like Brazil have been there. That's what happened when Brazil weren't quite all there defensively.
Caught cold, Ian Wurda, in the first 3-4 minutes of the game.
Brazil only have 4 survivors from the squad that won the Copa America in 1999. This is Arellano for Mexico. Mexico ripped apart by England at Pride Park. Derby in a friendly, and that was the start of a severe losing streak for them, 6 in a row. But they did recover to beat the USA in a World Cup qualifier. They're not hanging around here looking for another goal against Brazil, or even in their current state. One would not be enough against them. Roger, though, able to comfortably clear.
That was a big result for them, Ian, the win against the USA, because USA looked as if they were going to go on and qualify quite comfortably, but it's thrown it wide open again. And with Costa Rica, Honduras and Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, it's still an interesting league as to see who's going to qualify from it.
Juninho was in the thick of it there, but once again it was much ado about nothing for Brazil, who trailed to that early goal from Borghetti.
The Mexicans are just dropping back in their own half, making it tight. Whenever Brazil get the ball, they can have it in the Brazilian half, but once they get into the Mexico half, there's not a lot of space, and it's going to take some good play. Not like that, giving the ball away very cheaply. Ian.
Luis Felipe Scolari, Big Phil, as he's called, certainly has a job on his hands. He was actually in charge of Palmeiras when they beat Manchester United in the World Club Championship a couple of years ago. Big Phil came up against Big Alex. Juninho, they let that go, but to little avail. Jardel and Giovanni, a new look strike force for Brazil. Haven't had much of a look in so far.
Not had any service. It's been very tight so far.
Free kick for Brazil. Juninho doing his best to try and get them going.
Well, again, prompting and trying to find an opening for the strike force for Giovanni and Jardel. Mexico still keeping it very tight. Marquez and Vidrio in the centre of defence, looking solid at the moment.
Well, it was Giovanni who sent a rather tame effort in towards Perez, not troubling him in the slightest. That's when you need Rivaldo, really, isn't it, for a situation like that, although...
Or Roberto Carlos, the cannonball kid.
Rodriguez, it's going to come to Arellano. He scored his only international goal against Brazil in a 3-3 draw in a friendly earlier this year. Mexico have a free kick now, and a chance to pile on the misery for the holders. How the mighty have fallen. Brazilian football in crisis at the moment.
I wonder will it still be in crisis at the end of the game. There's a Hugo Sanchez looking like, isn't it? Jesus Arellano.
I wouldn't mind having him back. How the Hugo Sanchez.
What a player. I think he's going to be the best player ever from Mexico.
Well, Brazil made very little of their free kick a moment ago. Garcia Asper is going to have a go this time, and he fares a little better, but not much better.
I think he was being a little bit ambitious from that range. Certainly going for the par, but no accuracy.
Oh. Get out of the way, ref. He's 31 years of age, this referee, by the way, but considered to be one of the best on the continent. Garcia Asper, having fouled from the free kick, had another dig from distance, which had to be dealt with by Marcos.
Well, this is a good strike. We're just going to see the referee accidentally getting in the way, but Aspe's strike had the goalkeeper scrambling across Marcos. He could push it round for the corner kick. Last corner kick they scored from this side.
Well, Marcos certainly has plenty to say, and they didn't look too comfortable again as Borghetti and others loitered, although the header came from Monaco's Marquez.
Well, how do they find the space? It was the in-swinging ball into the near post, exactly the same as the last corner. Then he got across his mark and had a free header off target, fortunately from Brazil's point of view, but poor defensively once again.
When you see these famous yellow shirts, you expect a little bit more, really, than what Brazil have been giving here, and generally in recent games.
Maybe they're still trying to find their way, and as I say, there's a lot of young players coming through here at the moment. Young Alex and Fabio, Rochenbach, Giovanni. They're all looking for help from people like Juninho, who's just coming more into the game in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Sandro for Giovanni, and he's got a corner. Brazil will hope that something will come of that, and they need something to come of that to give their faithful followers something to cheer about.
It was good play from Giovanni, showed a good turn of pace, pulling a wee bit wide right, trying to drag defenders out, but his attempted cross is one to the corner.
Brazil looking to force the issue, and Chris's header nearly bounced in, but in the end Oscar Perez holds it within his grasp. But the central defenders have certainly caused a problem or two when they've come up for corners. Chris that time.
Yeah, but it's a free header, it's not on target, and again the opportunities gone a begging from Jardel at the far post. It was a difficult opportunity, I've got to say, because the ball did set up for him, but it seems whenever there's a corner kick or a set play in, it's an opportunity.
Never thought Brazil would have to rely on their corner kicks and set plays.
Well, I think they're better than that, but as I say, they're still trying to find their feet, trying to get over the shock of conceding an early goal.
Card is shown to Rochenbach, I think it is.
It is, it's Fabio Rochenbach, and he's pleading innocent, but it's right under the eyes of the referee, Oscar Ruiz. He couldn't have been better placed, and I think he's saying that the challenge was high.
Fabio Rochenbach just moved to Barcelona as well as Giovanni.
Yes. I don't know, I thought he tried to play the ball, to be fair to Rochenbach.
Half an hour played, first yellow card of the game, probably not the last. It goes to Rochenbach. Jardel, Giovanni gets the return. This talented 21-year-old tries to get his cross in, but had the sting taken out of it. Chris's header. Unfortunately, Julie gets it back and leaves it for Roque Jr. of AC Milan. Alessandro. The youngsters hoping to make an impression in this tournament. And wearing 13, so obviously not the superstitious sort.
Yeah, he's only 21 years of age, young boy. Here's Juninho.
Juninho couldn't find a way past Rafael Marquez. And there's maybe a bit of space here for Arellano. Emerson, though, tracking him and just taking it off his toes. Giovanni. He wants to pull out to that right flank, but he's certainly coming inside now. And he was destined to go on a bit of a run there, but rather typically, I suppose, he was taken out, and that will bring a card.
I'll tell you what, this boy's superb when he does pick the ball up. He's got a great turn of pace. It's taken two of them to stop him, Ian. It certainly has. And pulling out wide on this right-hand side, giving the Mexicans a problem. The two central defenders don't know whether to come with them or not, and it's caused them loads of problems. It looks like Morales has just picked up the yellow card.
Jardel's header. Yellow card confirmed for one of the two Ramon Moraleses in the squad. Juninho. A hit and hope effort. And there might be some hope here. Delivers. Alex trying to get in. Could be a break on here for Mexico, mind you. Zepeda and now Borghetti and now Rodriguez. Brazil have got men back. Garcia Asper, the veteran midfielder. Garcia Asper lost his way somewhat, but Arellano can try to take a different route for the Mexicans. It'd be quite something if they were to go 2-0 up. Almost unthinkable for Brazil. Be time for a new coach if they lost this one. This week's coach.
Hey, you don't want to joke about things like that. That's a very probable scenario.
Watching back, shunting it to Roger. This is better from Brazil. Alex trying to bundle his way through. Juninho. Whoops. Jardel. Recovered. Alessandro moving away from Zepeda. That'll be another free kick.
Just feel Brazil's turned it up a little bit, Ian, and they starting to surge forward, gaining in confidence. Created 2 or 3 good opportunities and probably should be back on level terms, but Mexico's hanging in there.
Rochenbeck is being caught in possession. 2 number 18s together, and Rodriguez clipped. I don't think he felt it too much though, and he'll be quickly ready to resume.
Well, he actually got the ball, but he also got Rodriguez as well. It's a shame for the young man. He's the youngest player in the park at 19 years of age, and he's picked up the yellow card, and that's going to impede him to a certain extent, Ian.
He's got to tread carefully. Here he is.
Oh, that's good skill.
Wasn't quite so good, however. Let's give Mexico a little bit of hope. Zepeda. Garcia Asper. He's never afraid to have a pop, is he? Not a disappointing effort, but he does like his long ranges. The captain.
He does strike a good ball. He has a reputation of scoring goals from distance. He's the most experienced player on the park for Mexico at 34, and he'll pull the strings. I just wonder, will he run out of steam a little bit in the second half as the humidity starts to take effect in, because it's very humid here tonight.
Here's Juninho trying to weave his way through, but no joy once again. Brazil. That'll be a free kick for a foul by Emerson.
Certainly was on Torrada. He certainly caught the man and not the ball.
Emerson picks up a yellow card too then, and there's 3 players now who've got to tread carefully. Well, there have been 4 red cards in the first 3 games of the Copa America, which is, well, tradition really, isn't it, in this part of the world.
Just think, as the pressure starts to build up on Brazil, you can see a few of them starting to lose the rag a little bit and make uncharacteristic errors, and that only adds to the pressure.
Juninho. Giovanni. One of the rising stars of Brazilian football. And he's managed to deliver this time.
He's got wide, he's put in some good crosses, there's been some good balls into the box. Not too many yellow shirts pushing forward to get up and support Jardel.
Brazil with just 2 wins in the 10 games they've played in 2001. Mexico, mind you, with just 2 wins in the 13 games that they've played, so neither team having a particularly wonderful year. Certainly by Brazilian standards, they're having an absolutely desperate year. Alessandro stumbling but recovering. Here's Giovanni. Chris. Roque Jr. Roger. This is more promising. Juninho. Just got taken away from him by Arellano, though.
Well, Vidrio didn't think it was a corner kick. The referee did. He's the important man.
Comes from Juninho, and Chris might just latch onto this. He does. Turned it back in very neatly too, and Roque Jr. must surely have done better with that.
Well, it's a free header at the far post. He's got up really well, but he can't direct it. Outside of the boot from Chris, and you can see here, free header. Well, he heads it like a defender, Ian, doesn't he? Unfortunately, but good chances being created by Brazil, but they can't find the back of the net.
Just over 5 minutes of the first half remaining. Mexico leading by 1-0. An early goal from Borghetti.
Struggling to find goals, Brazil. Can you believe that as well? I mean, that's one of the reasons why Romario was recalled several months ago, but there's so much talent there, you'd think it would be a foregone conclusion that they're going to score goals.
Certainly the cameras in Cali tonight not missing those tackles, closing in on them. And we'll certainly see a few of them in the Copa America games, that's for sure. Zepeda, and the presence of Alessandro a little too much to deal with. Now Rochenbach has to fend off Garcia Aspa. Rochenbach just 19 years of age. Here he is again. settling for the throw that time. Both teams with new coaches, and both those coaches in charge for only the second time here. Well, neither the coach with full strength squads to pick from, but it's going a little better for Mexico than it is for Brazil at the moment, although it is going to be another corner thanks to the efforts of Roger.
Just looking what can they do to improve the situation. I think they've got to test this goalkeeper a lot more. Oscar Perez, he's only had one real shot of any venom to save from Emerson.
Juninho delivers. He might get it back eventually. He does. And Juninho returns it to Roger.
They actually looked surprised when Juninho gave him the ball back, and it was on initially. What if it's in the mind?
Brazil, of course, almost stepped in to host the tournament. And it looked like it was going to be moved away from Colombia. They were ready to stage it in the south of the country, but Colombia, of course, got it back. Hosting the tournament for the very first time. Brazil, 6 times winners, which is not as much as you might have thought, actually, bearing in mind Argentina and Uruguay have both won it 14 times each. Giovanni's cross, but a reasonably comfortable catch for Perez.
This boy looks good, Giovanni. It doesn't matter what flank he's on, he's got that great turn of pace, good acceleration over the first yard, and manages to get crosses in. That's a good turn as well, I gotta say, from Zabeda.
Zabeda shrugging off Alessandro. Garcia Asper, Borghetti. This is nice from Mexico. And Arellano coming in. And nobody marking him whatsoever.
And defensively, Brazil's shambles. You're absolutely correct. 6-yard box at the back post. Well, this is the first cross that comes in from Giovanni. Well dealt with by the goalkeeper. But at the other end, Morales puts in a great cross deep to the far post. Just have a look at this. No one marking Jesus Arellano.
Mexico's corner a little on the long side. Vidrio trying to stop it curling for a goal kick. Just over a minute of the first half remaining, normal time that is, and Brazil trail to Mexico, which once upon a time would have been considered a big shot, but not so much these days. And the coach, Big Phil, who is Felipe Scolari, who you just saw, will have 1 or 2 things to sort out during the break. And he's certainly not a man who's afraid to speak his mind. Alessandro, what Brazil will give for an equaliser just before the break. Well, they will get another corner, and there has been a glimmer of hope for them from these corners, with Roque Jr. and Chris set to move in there and maybe upset a few Mexican defenders. And of course Jardel is there as well. Juninho's corner, but Mexico deal with that pretty comfortably. There'll be just a minute of added on time. If you were in Big Phil's position, what would you be saying to his players at the break?
Well, I think he's going to try and get some confidence back into him. I'd like to see a little bit more with the young boy. Giovanni's a centre forward, but he's playing wide on the right, he's playing wide on the left. I'd like to see him down the middle with Jardel, and possibly bring on Danielson, who great one-on-one situations, good skill, good left foot. Maybe he can open up this Mexican defence.
Danielson. Chris. Sandro. That might just carry. Jardel in there. Vidrio's miss kick. Jardel sets it up for Giovanni. But it's straight at the keeper from the youngster.
Well, the first time the young boy just wanted him to get into the middle alongside Jardel. Jardel tees it up for him. He doesn't hit it too cleanly, straight down the middle. Easy for the goalkeeper, Oscar Perez. But that was another real chance, Ian.
And the half-time whistle has gone in Cali, the last chance of the half, and despite the efforts of Juninho, Brazil's year shows no sign of improvement just yet, because at the break here in the 2001 Copa America, it's Brazil 0, Mexico 1.
Que tienen nuevo entrenador porque perdieron contra Uruguay, y este resultado, esta Copa América, supone para ellos un bálsamo para mejorar. Si comienzan perdiendo, mal asunto. Tienen tiempo de recuperar en la segunda parte. Volveremos entonces con todos ustedes. Hasta ahora mismo desde Cali. De nuevo con todos ustedes, señoras y señores, desde Cali, en el Estadio Pascual Guerrero, donde ahí tienen ya, decíamos al término de la primera parte, que Scolari tendría que hacer algo, y efectivamente no le ha quedado más remedio que llamar a Denilson y a Guillerme para cambiar la situación y el panorama de Brasil. Es Guillerme, el jugador conocido en España porque actuó en el Rayo Vallecano, y que junto a Denilson van a incorporarse al partido para darle más posibilidades ofensivas a Brasil. Guillerme, después del Rayo, recordarán que volvió a Brasil para jugar en el Atlético Mineiro. Denilson.
Welcome back to Cali, where Mexico do lead Brazil by 1-0, and unsurprisingly, the Brazilians have made a couple of changes with attack in mind. Denilson is on. No surprise to see him. He'll certainly stir things up. Still one of the most expensive players in world football at around £23 million. And Guillerme is also coming on. There's Denilson wearing 11, trotting on. And Guillerme, and a rather predictable response really from Luis Felipe Scolari. Had to do something to pep things up for Brazil. And, well, Denilson certainly will. Maybe Guillerme will make an impact too, Gerry.
Yes, I mean, that's the point I made just before half-time. I thought they needed someone with Denilson's quality and ability. Gives him some width, gets some service into the box. I was disappointed, I've got to say, with Jardel. And that's obviously why he's been substituted.
Yes, Jardel was a bit of a loss, really, in the first half, wasn't he? Not surprised to see him go off. And Guillerme is wearing number 9. Actually had a spell in Spain a few years ago with Rayo Vallecano. So a double change from Brazil as they try and recover. Garcia Asper, the captain of Mexico, who will start the second half. Mexico leading by 1-0, but Brazil have changed things around. Denilson certainly should be involved ASAP. Guillerme also on. Roque Jr. Be a free kick, and we told you Denilson would be involved straight away, and he is.
Well, hug the touchline, start pulling this defence out, get himself one-on-one situations, and he loves to run with the ball. He's got a great left foot in. I think he fancies taking this one.
Offside flag up against Giovanni, though. Big results for Mexico, give them an enormous boost if they were able to pull it off, but there's a long way to go, and Brazil will be doing their best to try and restore some pride. They've been in that position a few times lately, having to restore pride. But certainly made hard work of qualifying for the World Cup next year, so no wonder they're making hard work too of the opening match of the 2001 Copa America. Threatened again, and Garcia Asper, that actually packed a little bit of a punch.
Just still can't believe the defending from Morales. He's turning into the challenge, Ian, and giving the ball away.
Guilherme on for Jardel, who had a pretty anonymous first half. Getty scored the goal for Mexico in the opening minutes.
Well, that's the strike, but it wasn't really going to test the goalkeeper, Marcos. Nonetheless, it was poor defending once again. Seemed very, very nervous whenever the ball goes into the penalty area.
Watching back. Ariano. Great things will be expected of Denilson, who's come on for Juninho, perhaps a little surprisingly, but it's Mexico who are on the attack, although not for long. Here's Alex. This is better from Brazil. Didn't quite reach Guilherme though. Denilson unable to bring it under control, and Roque Jr. will have to deal with this under pressure from Borghetti. Doesn't deal with it particularly well either. Garcia Asper, Torrado. Mexico warming up all their subs at the moment, so they might be considering a change or two as well, although it's they who are in the lead. Guilherme, one of the subs. Giovanni making movement ahead of him. Both Brazil and Mexico hoping to salvage something from the year 2001. There hasn't been an awful lot to remember for either of them. Here is Denilson then, on as a sub in the second half, promoted back to the top flight in Spain with Real Betis. He's got a free kick, which you might fancy.
Well, this is the sort of thing he does do, Ian. He wins free kicks, plays little 1-2s. He's got quick feet, and if he gets into the box and they touch him, he'll be down. But this is an area where they can actually strike and hit the target. I think it's a right-footed strike, it looks like to me. It looks as if Oscar Perez has got 1, 2, 3, 4 on his wall.
Well, if anybody can conjure something up from this sort of situation, it's Brazil. Looks like it's going to be Guilherme. Having given him the big build-up, it bounced straight back off the wall, of course, but the danger far from over for Mexico yet. It is now, though. And once again, they waste no time. Oh, a lovely touch, Giovanni.
Yeah, good touch from Giovanni for Alessandro, and it's free-flowing. Brazil really pushing forward, looking the part at the moment, Ian, but still trailing 1-0.
It's been a promising start to the second half, though, for the boys from Brazil. Made by Vidrio. to be a bit of a buzz about them in this second half, after the introduction of Denilson and Guilherme by their coach Luis Felipe Scolari, who is not actually new to international management. He had a short spell in charge of Kuwait, not quite the same though as being in charge of Brazil.
A big Phil from Kuwait and big Phil from Brazil sounds better, doesn't it? But I think you're right, the two subs have given them a little bit of an injection of enthusiasm, and all they need to do is turn that enthusiasm into opportunities and goals. Oh, he's kicked the ball away.
There is Scolari, and he is one of the most passionate coaches in Brazil. Mind you, I suppose they all are really, but he's even more passionate than most. Scolari, remember, the fourth coach that Brazil have used during their campaign to try and qualify for the World Cup, which remains the priority, but they'd love to lift the Copa America again for the third time in a row.
Certainly would close the gap on Uruguay and Argentina, who have won it more than any other nation, 14 times each.
Argentina not here at this tournament, of course, but it's they who are really ruling South America at the moment.
Didn't see an awful lot wrong with that one, Ian, for me. Young Alessandro pushing forward. It was a 50-50 ball. Unfortunately, Oscar Ruiz disagreed. Good cover from Marquez.
Dorado of Tenerife, who will be up against Denilson next season in La Liga. Both those teams promoted back to the top flight. Denilson with Real Betis and Dorado's Tenerife.
Real Betis just scraped in ahead of Atletico Madrid, who made a late surge. And Sevilla won the league, and Tenerife and Betis followed them. Should make it interesting next season for the teams from Seville.
Brazil launching a salvage operation here, trailing Mexico by a goal to nil. Not only, by the way, have Brazil got through loads of coaches recently, there's also another pointer to the reason they might not have done so well in their World Cup qualifying campaign. In their 12 ties so far, in their efforts to make it to Japan and South Korea, they've used 51 different players.
Well, straight away it tells you there's no continuity then, Ian, because you keep chopping and changing. But the problem they've got is the big stars are all playing in Europe. You know, the Rivaldos, the Roberto Carloses, and they're not always going to be available, so it's difficult. Sometimes the coaches then relies on the homegrown players. Saying that, whatever side Brazil put out, you've got to fancy them. They should do better than they've done recently.
Mexico are ready to put pressure on again, and Cepeda delivers, and Roque Jr. stayed remarkably calm.
Still don't give me the impression that they're too comfortable at the back, and Roque Jr. panicked big time when that came into the box, and his clearance was poor as well.
Cepeda. Arellano. Oops. Well, that was desperate.
Certainly was.
Yes. Denilson, rather. He can be a bit unpredictable.
Well, he's got all the skill in the world, but he's given away a corner kick unnecessarily.
Mexico looking to double their lead. These matches being played in Group B, and later today Group C gets underway with Bolivia facing Uruguay first of all, and then it's Honduras against Costa Rica, the two later rivals to the Copa America after Argentina and Canada withdrew. Follow all the action from the Copa America right here. Emerson. Roger leaves it. De Wilson delivers, but really wasn't going to cause much of a problem with that. Brazil very beatable at the moment. And Mexico know that. As they go looking for a second, will be plucked out of the air by Marcos though.
Deary me. It's just giving away possession here, and it's totally unnecessary. That's Jesus' cross, and gets it at the second attempt. Marcos.
Borghetti fending off Roque Jr., but then he presented it straight to Emerson. Arellano. And Zapata. And couldn't quite keep it in, Ramon. Morales.
I think he just asked a little bit too much of him. And the coach is out of his dugout, Javier Gerry. Not happy with that.
Gerry, the coach, had less than a week in charge before a vital World Cup qualifier against the USA, but he managed to sneak a victory. He actually played, by the way, the coach for Mexico, in Mexico in the 1986 World Cup, where he partnered Hugo Sanchez.
Oh.
Approaching the hour mark in Cali, and still no sign of a Brazilian breakthrough. They trail to Borghetti's early strike, and they really don't look like Brazil.
They don't. They lack that little bit of invention in the final third that we characteristically look upon Brazil as having, and their players have the quality and the ability, but they're short of confidence at the minute, Ian, and somebody or something needs to change for that to help them out of the situation they're in at the moment. But while they're doing that, Mexico are looking to play on the counter-attack, and if they score a second goal, I think it's all over.
Well, a Brazilian defeat used to be a rarity, but Javier Aguirre knows that that is not the case. Certainly this year, they've lost World Cup qualifiers, Brazil, in Paraguay, Chile, Ecuador and Uruguay. Lost to Australia as well, who they could yet face if they do have to go into a playoff to make it to the World Cup finals. Australia fast improving in football terms as well. And the way it's going for the Aussies in sport at the moment, apart from tennis maybe, you wouldn't bet against them.
They have a good side. They have a very good side. Saying that, it's going to be home and away, isn't it? Whoever they play against, that'll be tough.
Garcia Asper. It's unusual to see a Brazilian side give the ball away so cheaply. Free kick is going to go their way, and another card's coming out here.
It is. It looks like Jesus. Is it? No, it's not actually.
Rodriguez.
It is Rodriguez, Johan Rodriguez. He was on the ground and he just lifted his leg and clipped him. And again, the referee's positional play has been excellent.
4 yellow cards in the game. 4 red cards in the tournament so far. 1 in each of the games in Group A yesterday and 2 in the Peru-Paraguay game here earlier. Giovanni once again looking lively, but once again out wide, although he has forced a corner.
This is the point I made. If Giovanni's out wide putting crosses into the box, it means there's only one striker there, and I was hoping that's what Danielson was going to do. He was going to provide the crosses on this left-hand side.
He hasn't done an awful lot yet, Danielson, has he?
No, but I mean the surface there from the, I mean all the corner kicks in, they've not cleared the defender on the near post, and very poor quality.
No sign of the Brazilian footballing crisis abating at the moment. Watch him back. That's a little better though. Here he is, Danielson taking on Arellano to great effect as well, but once again the delivery was a little wanting, having got into a great position on the pylon.
He certainly did his trademark step over as well. He usually does that 3 or 4 times before he goes past the player, but got to the byline, couldn't get a decent cross in.
Brazil would probably, in their current state, as they're prepared to make another change, would sacrifice a poor showing in the Copa America if they were certain of making it to the World Cup, of course. This change is going to see the arrival of the other Juninho, which is why the first one's gone off. Juninho Pernambucano is his full name, well, something like that. He's coming on for Alessandro.
He plays his football in Lyon, in France.
The other Juninho replaced at half-time. Brazil plugging away with Emerson, their captain. And perhaps deserved a better reward then, as he treaded very carefully and found his way towards the box. Alex?
Well, that's the best piece of movement from him. Great burst getting forward on his left foot. Cracks one. Keeper was beaten. Unfortunately, it's past the post. Super piece of play. It's a pity he couldn't have finished it off with a goal.
Well, at least they were having a go then.
Well, I need to see more of that, Ian.
They might have a go now with Giovanni once again out wide. Rather outnumbered Brazil in the box. A few whistles from the crowd, and that change has been made, with Alessandro replaced by Juninho Pernambucano. He's immediately involved, and he immediately gets a free kick.
Shows a lot of urgency and desire, the young Juninho, trying to lift the spirit and create some opportunities. But here comes Mexico on the counter-attack.
Garcia Asper left it for Tirado. Well, Roque Jr. came striding out of the defence then, and he's going to join Danielson in this attack. Tirado trying to keep up. Danielson's still going. Better watch him if he gets inside that area.
Absolutely. Oh,
It's going to be a corner.
actually wasn't a bad ball in swinging, and Marquez was happy just to get it away.
Alex will take the corner. Only 23, but he played in the last Copa America as well. Alex delivers, and Perez punches it out.
He's come for everything, hasn't he, Ian? And he's got a good fist on that.
Here is the second Juninho to figure tonight. Offside flag is up though, and Roque Jr. was the man who might have been in had the flag not gone up.
Well, the Mexicans pushed the line up very, very quickly. You can see them pushing out. 1, 2, 3 of them left offside. Good play from Mexico, well organised. That result against the United States certainly lifted their confidence.
Looking to get in. The current state of Brazilian football must be an absolute delight to the other teams in South America, who all of a sudden have found themselves in with a chance of actually beating Brazil.
I think for me, Argentina's got the strongest squad of the lot, and certainly they're the form side over the last 18 months. It's great skill. The referee's not giving him a free kick.
A free kick there though, as Borghetti was clipped by Juninho. Brazil winners of the Copa America in 1997 and 1999, but already facing a bit of a battle to retain their crown.
Well, he was impeded there by Marquez. The referee's very good, he spotted it. He had his back turned, he turned around quickly in and he spotted it. He's given them the free kick, but they haven't really done anything with the free kicks so far, and they need somebody, an inspirational figure, to pull something out of the bag.
Well, it looks like the sub Juninho Pernambucano fancies this one. It's not a bad try, although straight at the keeper really. Not as promising as first thought. I think the other Juninho, the former Middlesbrough man, has gone off. We might just call this one Juninho now, rather than by his full name, Juninho Pernambucano. Mainly because it takes me about 2 minutes to say it.
At least he hits a target, but it's bread and butter for Perez.
In Cali, in Colombia, there are 20 minutes remaining. It's Brazil 0, Mexico 1. Mexico going to lead the group after Peru and Paraguay drew 3-3 earlier. Here's Rochenbach. Two men on him, and once again nothing doing. Very disappointing. And Scolari,
you can see his face tells it all, doesn't it, Ian? He's not a happy chappy. He's made his 3 substitutions. He's thrown all the 3 dices, and he needs help. Another yellow card.
Roque Jr. receives this one, the 5th of the game. Sees the funny side though. Not sure if Zapata did.
You can see why he got the yellow card though. He looks very clumsy at times, Roque Jr.
He plays for AC Milan. He didn't have a great season by their supreme standards.
I think we can safely say that this Colombian crowd want Mexico to win this game.
to have a go, and Marquez does have a go, but another to be marked on the ambitious list.
Certainly was. And again, they can afford to do that, Ian. The most important statistic is the scoreline, and at the minute it's looking good for Mexico.
Well, we thought Denilson would make things happen for Brazil, but he hasn't really.
No, I mean, they've got to get Denilson out wide on this left-hand side and just stuff the ball at him and encourage him to take on defenders and put in some crosses, but they're still trying to do their own thing. Brazil dribbling, trying to play little 1-2s, give the ball away cheaply. Mexico are still looking comfortable for me.
Garcia Asper, Mexico's captain, takes the free kick. Borghetti's flip will come to nothing, and here's Emerson. Forced into a corner. Italian champion with Roma, Emerson. Oh dear, goodness. Chris's error has let Borghetti in again, but Marcos got down to smother.
I'll tell you, the defending is shocking here. He's come inside again and had a shot blocked down. Just can't believe it.
Yeme gave it away that time.
Well, he scuffed it, never really got the power behind it that he wanted, Borghetti, but still again it was a chance, and it came from a mistake by Brazil.
Garcia Asper will take the free kick. Borghetti felt he was being held, but a little forlorn suggestion from him. He might have got something for it. Okay, Junior's throw. Here is Denilson. He's got round Torrado, but came back for ball.
So that was for shirt pulling. First real burst of skill and speed from Denilson.
Brazil in urgent need of inspiration from somewhere. Not much of a suggestion as to where it's going to come from yet. Emerson's header. Giovanni trying to get in. Mexico holding firm. Cepeda. Felt that one, Emerson.
I thought he actually won the ball. He nicked the ball in front and it was his foot that was kicked. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, it certainly was, and it was Morales who almost took him in half.
He's going to get a card here for
Time wasting.
Time wasting.
Hanging around the referee. He's taking no prisoners. That's Ramon Morales who's been booked.
That means both players called Ramon Morales have been booked in this game.
Any Morales at all.
There's a good chance that Ramon Morales might get sent off.
There's twice as much chance of Ramon Morales as anyone else.
Two of them in the Mexican team. American coach Gerry, hoping that his side can hang on. I suppose he'd quite like a cushion, mind you, against Brazil. He might get that now with one of those Moraleses, but it's safely taken by Marcos. Emerson, the captain of Brazil, lifted the Copa America in '99. Alex, he's got it back, but that'll run through. Wearing number 20, one of the rising stars of Brazilian football, 23-year-old, but played in the previous Copa America. He's with Palmeiras, but I wonder if one of the big European clubs might come hunting for him. Crocker Jr. Denilson. Straight at Marquez, who does manage to hook it away. Crocker Jr. Tirado is there to calm things down for Mexico. Now Borghetti. Giovanni, not the best of first touches from him. Zepeda, ever present in the World Cup qualifying campaign. Chris blocking that one. He actually played under Scolari at Cruzeiro. As in fact, quite a few of these players have played under Scolari at some point in their career. Time running out for the boys from Brazil.
Certainly is, and I just don't know where they're going to get an inspiration from, Ian, but they need something. They need a lift. They maybe need a little bit of luck. I think Scolari will settle for a draw now because Mexico's look comfortable. They've had a lot of possession, Brazil, but they haven't really caused the goalkeeper enough problems, or this Mexican defence.
Denilson. Hanging in grimly, even though there were 3 players on him, including Arellano.
I think that's the difference between the two sides. They're very well organised. They work for each other, Mexico. I think there's a lot of individual skill in the Brazilian side, but they don't collectively help each other enough. And it might mean that Brazil need a moment of magic from Denilson or someone to get them back into the game.
Denilson, remember, did cost Real Betis £23 million, which in days not so long ago used to be a lot of money in football. Now, of course,
it's not a lot of
that much.
Well, it was a lot of money for Betis because I think they thought they were buying someone who scores a lot of goals, and that wasn't the case. He's a creator of goal-scoring chances. He's not a goal scorer himself, Denilson. And I think we're going to have a double substitution in for Mexico just to consolidate their position.
Well, Zepeda and Johan Rodriguez are going off, and on in their place comes Mercado, and also coming on is Daniel Osorno, who has a fair bit of experience. But who you're looking at there, though, is Mercado, and Aguirre giving Zapata a little nudge as he departs. So Mexico making 2 changes. Mercado comes on, vastly experienced, 32 years of age, and also on Daniel Osorno, who played in the last Copa America in 1999, when he was only 20, in fact, and scored a goal against Venezuela. And already Mexico moving in for a second. Less than 10 minutes for Brazil to save themselves. That was Denilson.
Oh, he's a showman, isn't he?
Didn't get a free kick, though.
No, he gives the ball away, and this is where I don't feel they work as a team enough. Great skill and technique there, but at the end of the day, he's giving the ball away. Mexico are in possession.
Mercado, just on. Marquez. Borghetti chasing that. Roger going with him.
This is great feet, great skill. should be doing it up at the other end, Ian, you know. He's coming back deep. You want him doing that in the final third and putting in a good cross.
Ariano. Garcia Asper, the captain, trying to give Brazil something else to worry about. They might have something to worry about anyway. Stopped though by Juninho.
Oh my goodness.
Who was he passing to there? Giovanni was a lot further forward than he obviously thought. Although they have had a lot of possession, Brazil, they have been pretty poor.
They haven't created enough for me. They've had lots of possession, but in the final third, there's been no end product.
Will there be now? Juninho trying to put it back to Guilherme, but it just doesn't work out for them at all when they get that far forward. There's confirmation of the one of the Mexican changes with Osorno on. Straight at Roque Jr. though. Well, even if Brazil do lose this and do have a nightmare Copa America, they've surely got to stick with this coach, having got through a few already. And Scolari is quite popular with the fans in Brazil. He's a passionate character who speaks his mind and expects a great deal from his players, certainly more than they've been giving in recent months. But surely they won't move on to a fifth coach during the World Cup qualifying campaign. You could have a different coach for every match.
Well, you would think not, Ian, but you never know in football. I mean, if it's a particularly poor performance or poor result,
watching back's effort blocked,
then maybe the pressure would be mounting and they would be forced to sack him again. But I don't know where they go from here.
You don't get a great deal of job security being coach of Brazil, though, do you? That's for sure.
Well, you would have thought so maybe several years ago, but not this year. I think everyone's short of confidence. Even the experienced players like Emerson and Roque Jr.
Brazilian football lurching from one crisis to another. There's been a big investigation into the game in Brazil by the government. A financial investigation too. Total turmoil, basically. Complete chaos. And so many things going on off the pitch which aren't good for Brazil, and so many things going on the pitch which aren't good for Brazil either.
I think the fans are more worried about what's going on the pitch. Hold on a minute.
Alex Rochenbach. Less than 5 minutes for Brazil to save themselves in the opening game for them. 2001 Copa America. And goalkeeper Perez electing to punch that, which at least will give Emerson a chance to send one back in. And a free kick conceded.
There's a little bit of a late challenge on that cross that came into the box. It was Rochenbach, was it? He's got to be careful, he's already on a yellow card in. Well, don't need to ask them what they think of the game so far and how it's going.
It certainly would be a victory to savour for Mexico, who, remember, have had a pretty dismal year too. Although I don't suppose as much is expected of them than it is of Brazil. This is Osorno. He might just get it back. Daniel Osorno, and it was blocked by Roque Jr. And it needed to be, because that could have been curtains for Brazil.
A quick feet, Osorno, hasn't he? Lovely little pirouette here, back on his left foot, and he cracks it, but desperate lunge from Rocky Jr. to save the day.
Mexico happy to keep the ball down this end, though, with the seconds ticking away, and Roque Jr., who's already on a yellow card, lunged in there.
Stun is playing to Mexico's hands. They've got a free kick, they can take their time. Another opportunity, and again he's very clumsy indeed here.
I don't want to speak too soon, but we could get through a Copa America game without a red card for the first time in this year's tournament. This is the 4th match.
You're going to put the kiss of death on some poor player out there today, aren't you?
Without a shadow of a doubt. Mexico moving in for the kill. Garcia Asper elected to drill. Now Rochin back to goal there. Here's Giovanni. Rochin back, Juninho running ahead of him. This is better from Brazil. He doesn't hang about as far as the cross is concerned, but Arellano managed to clear. And Giovanni, was he looking for something there?
He definitely dived in.
The referee was having none of it.
He's been good, the referee, hasn't he? He's been superb.
He's only a young lad, Giovanni, but he's already learned how to dive.
Oh, he's a Brazilian, isn't he? Have a look at this. He runs straight into Marquez and throws himself.
Nearly in the final minute of normal time, and Brazil are close to another defeat in what has been a truly miserable year for the fallen giants of world football.
Oh.
Borghetti, Chris was with him, and the two of them get a little bit too involved. It has been given Mexico's way, and it's just drifting away from Brazil now. I can't really say that, even allowing for all their possession, that they probably deserve to get that much out of it.
I mean, it's one thing having possession, Ian, it's another thing turning it into opportunities, and that's what they haven't done. They haven't created enough opportunities.
There's Garcia Asper sizing up the opportunity, but didn't catch it right. The 90 minutes are almost up. Mexico at the moment heading to the top of the group after Peru and Paraguay shared 6 goals earlier in a rather enthralling game here.
Well, that actually helps Brazil in some senses, because it's a draw, and it means if they beat Paraguay and Peru, then Brazil can still go through to the next stages. But of what we've seen today, they don't look like they're going to score too many goals, Brazil.
Every pass being applauded by the Mexico fans now, and here's Arellano as they look to completely finish off Brazil. Daniel Osorno has looked lively since coming on.
Certainly has. He's had 3 cracks at goal. One of them on target, the other 2 off target, but I think Brazil are looking very jaded and disjointed.
Just about hanging on to it now for Mexico and keeping it up that end as well. 2 minutes have added on time, so just 1 left, and Mexico sitting pretty at the moment in possession and ready to see this one out surely. Here is the sub Osorno. He's going to go for a goal kick, but not long to go for Brazil.
Oh, lovely little nutmegs.
Yes, it really has been Brazil that you've been watching, but not quite the Brazil that we've come to know and love over the years.
Oh, they're loving it here, ole, ole.
It's all over. Brazilian football really is in a sorry state right now. How the mighty have fallen. They have it all to do in the 2001 Copa America as they look to retain their title, because it finishes in Cali. Brazil 0, Mexico 1.
Pero que a la larga, por los méritos que ha hecho el equipo de Javier Aguirre, que debuta en la Copa América con un triunfo inolvidable para México, consigue una importante victoria. Señoras y señores, recuerden que la Copa América volverá mañana desde Medellín con los partidos Bolivia-Uruguay, Honduras-Costa Rica desde Cali. Eso es todo. Muy buenas noches.